This scene is much later at night. At this point, the caravan of the Endless Storytellers, they stopped around dinner time, around 6 o'clock, to set up camp, to secure the area, and to uh, rest and relax and prepare for the next day. Of course, many of the members of the traveling show, the troupe, intermingle with themselves, and they have some small revelry after leaving New Laszlo. Spirits are very high. It was a fantastic run in New Laszlo, and everybody from Zoe to Corin to everyone else is very, very in an upbeat mood. The weather is overcast and there's a few drizzles of rain, but otherwise it's fine. As the sun dips behind the clouds and everyone eats and everyone begins to rest, at around 9:30-ish, 9:30 to 9:45, small cracks of explosives are heard in the relative distance to of the behemoth. You can probably approximate maybe they're about 250, 300 feet away. For those who are interested to look out the windows or to go outside to investigate, a few minutes later, you would find Alicia approaching approaching from the woods with a few other guards. In front of her, she's pointing her rifle to a man. He is 6'1" tall. He is Caucasian with slight Asian facial features, black short cropped hair. In fact, I have his token right here, which I will use as an aid for his description. And give me just a moment. He is dressed in tattered black armor that covers his body, although it seems to have taken quite a bit of damage, as is the helmet that clings to his side. His helmet is more just a mass of melted metal than an actual helmet itself. He doesn't look too disturbed. If anything, he looks disappointed and angry at being captured, as Alicia starts pointing him towards the behemoth and back towards the bulk, the center of the town, it's not the town, of the camp itself. And now, would it be fair to assume that during this hubbub, you would go out to meet Alicia or ask her what happened or anything like that?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Patrick would actually be watching from the window.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Mila would stay watching. She wouldn't go.
Okay. She wouldn't go out,
No.
but Al would go out.
Yes.
Okay. And Tom?
It looks like
Yes.
he will as well.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I have too many windows open right now, so if I'm not able to see a message, just understand that sometimes I'll need to.
It's all good. I was
Okay.
just eating something, so sorry.
Okay. All right. So, so for those of you who go out, you see Alicia, the two other guards with her. She, just a second. She tells, their names are Wes and Trisha, and she says, Wes, Trisha, go get Zoe. We have a problem, she says as she stares at her captive as she butts him with the point of her rifle. The same master-crafted rifle, Al, that you actually gave her. The tip of the barrel seems to have had a deep scratch in it, though, for some reason. As Alicia recants, as the other two go off to inform the rest of the camp and the leadership of the camp, of the Endless Storytellers, Alicia explains to you what happens. And I have a video for you guys.
Ooh.
It is a private video, and I will just I'll just share the link with you, and we can all watch it together if you like.
Sure.
So give me just a moment.
I like it when Papa Inferno gives us videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's here in the group chat, and I'll even put it in this chat as well.
All right, I am at 000.
Yeah, so let me know when you're all ready.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, count us down, Piffy.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm just doing this. I just a quick introduction. I couldn't decide exactly how I wanted things to go narratively speaking, and I figured since this is between two NPCs, why not let fate decide it? So I am presenting you a combat between Alicia and an unknown assailant. Now, this is my reference, my combat reference sheet that I'm going to be using. I have all the statistics for both Alicia and her assailant. I will be using these values, so don't be surprised if I switch off in between there, and of course using our initiative modifiers here as well. And we will see, I'm doing this live, I'm only doing this once, of course, and we're going to see the results. So to set the scene, there has been a strange... Alicia's on patrol. It's the first night since you've left New Laszlo, and it's around 9:30 at night. The sun has set, and amongst the fading leaves of the forested area that you rest, she, among many of the Endless Storyteller's guards, are doing a nightly watch when she catches something in the corner of the woods and hears a peculiar sound and goes to investigate. So this is where we join her, investigating the actual disturbance itself. As she moves over to this small blinking light that seems to be off in the corner, her guard is most certainly up. She is equipped with the Masterwork rifle that Al gifted her, along with a pistol for defense. She is wearing gladiator body armor. Now I'm going to do a roll for her assailant. He is able to... I gave him a small bonus because he is dressed in black. It is at night, and he is skilled in this. I'm looking at the wrong sheet. So he has a prowl of 65%. If he fails this, then she just spots him. He fails in his concealment, which he does. So, Alicia, from the corner of her eye, she can see the branches on the side move, in which she notices an unknown assailant who is brandishing a sword and looking directly at her. This is where combat begins. So, the unknown attacker does not have a drop on her, so they will both be rolling a 1d20 to determine initiative. First for Alicia, she gets a 5, and he gets an 11. Alicia has 3 attacks per melee, so she's going to go on initiatives 5, 3, and 1. While her assailant has 5 attacks per melee at 11. Let's just quickly pull out our calculator here. So 11 divided by 5, so that's just about a division of 2. So he is still fast on his feet, and he gets to go at 2, 8, 6, 4, and 2. So, noticing that he has been alerted, he jumps down from the trees. Let me just select to move. Give me just
this is
one
the
moment
part where
as
I
get
didn't know
the
how to
right
select
layer.
the token.
There
There
we
we go.
So he spends his first melee action jumping down from the tree itself, from the high branches in which he was skulking. He's going to land to the ground, raise his sword, and charge towards Alicia. Now, of course, to drop down on the ground from his height, he is going to need to do a balance check. His balance is 70%, so let's see if he succeeds. He does. So he's able to fall on the ground, roll gracefully, and approach Alicia without any sort of problem. Since that only took about 2 or 3 seconds, I'm not going to I'm not going to make him do anything else. So for his next attack, he notices the weapon in Alicia's hand and he strikes out with his vibroblade. At that point, At that point, he is actually rolling to strike with his vibroblade against her weapon. He's going to try to damage it, or at the very least, wring it from her hands. So with his vibroblade, vibro sword, he has a +5 to strike. So he has he got a 13, which is over a 12, which is needed for a called shot. So he's able to strike
I rolled a 1d10
at,
instead of a 1d20.
Alicia's
Whoops.
weapon.
Oh.
He moves
Doesn't
so
matter.
fast
That
and so
works.
swiftly. Alicia, of course, cannot parry the blow. She can
He's
only
just
parry
that
it
bad.
with the weapon, and therefore the weapon would be taking the damage anyway. Therefore, she can only do a dodge to prevent him to do that. Alicia is going to do that. So she's going to do a simple dodge roll. Sometimes dodging isn't just with one's body, it's also with one's hands moving something out of the way. So she has a +3. 1d20 +3. Well, no, 1d30. That would make things hard. She fails, so she consumes her next action, and he manages to strike. He rolls 2d6 for his damage, and her weapon sustains 6 points of damage. Now, luckily, the weapon that she was gifted by Al is mastercrafted and has more than the usual amounts of MDC upon it. So right now, it has 6 out of 25 damage. So, the blade nicks the tip of the weapon itself, but isn't knocked from her hands. Unfortunately, he is tenacious and he will attempt again to disarm his prey. This time, instead of going for the weapon, he's going to go for her hand instead. And if he succeeds, then he misses her hand. But he does go over a 5 still, so he does hit her main body. At this point, Alicia, she's going to be wise enough and she's going to allow her armor to absorb the hit itself. So her armor takes 9 points of damage. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can so it's not entirely tenacious, because I know you guys want to get back to the actual game. So, with that, the next attack by her assailant. He went for a weapon. Okay, at this point he's going to try and knock her down. He's going to be doing a kick attack. So, which is his basic strike. He's going to hit her in the stomach, and what it's going to do, he's not going to do any damage, but he's going to force her to do a balance check to see if she falls on her feet. Now, they're both sturdy, they're both around the same size. He's a little bit stronger, but she's a little bit more agile, so I'm not going to give her a penalty on her balance check if he hits. He only has to get over a 5, and he does have, I believe he has a +3 to strike. So, let's see. He critically fails.
Yes.
Sorry, I sound really excited because I don't want Alicia to get hurt. So I'm
Unbiased.
somewhat biased in this result. He completely fails. He kicks out his leg, but loses his own balance, in fact, and he has to shift on his ankle, missing her entirely, but now he himself must do a balance check or he will fall. Now he has his check is 70, so we will see 76. He falls upon the ground, twisting his own ankle by accident. So he is now prone. With this, Alicia, oh my goodness, Alicia it's her turn to act. She will take a few steps back to be wary of the blast radius, and with a curse under her, well, with a curse breath at her attacker, she will attempt to strike him. We are going to make the attempt. She is going to try to do an aimed shot at his head. So, using the T16 pump rifle, she has a +5 to hit. So, She gets an 18, which is well above her attempts, well above the threshold to hit a called shot. He is on his last attack, and he is desperately going to not try to get struck. So he is going to roll a 1d20, but he has a straight -10. I'm not going to bother because he needs to get, well, no. He needs to get a natural 20. He absolutely does in order to dodge, because he can't naturally roll a 28. He fails. So now Alicia is going to do 4d6 mega damage to his head, which is 16. Looking at his MDC, his head has an MDC. His head armor only has an MDC of 18. So once the explosion clears itself, a very damaged, broken, and shattered helmet and upper body of this assailant has happened. Now, I didn't take up his last attack. So, instead, Alicia will act her final time. He is stunned from the attack, and she is going to try and finish him off, emulating a quick succession of attacks. She gets a 10, so that is not higher than 11 there. Sorry, not higher than 12. So, unfortunately, this is going to be damage that goes to his main body instead, which is 19. Out of 45. His armor itself is an assassin type of armor where it's very light, but has very high mobility. Wouldn't have given him any penalties to his checks, but of course, as you can see, it wouldn't prevent that sort of poor damage. So that is the last of their actions, and now it is his turn again. He scrambles up to his feet. That's turn 1. That consumes the entire action. Understanding that he is in significant trouble, he pops a smoke grenade and attempts to flee. So, the smoke grenade, its sphere of influence, he drops it at his feet. And it fills an area such as this. Both Alicia and her assailant are in smoke. At this point, he vacates the area. Now, in order to emulate, he's running. Now, in order to at this point, when it is Alicia's turn, which it is now, she's going to go out of the smoke herself, and she's going to try to find him. So what we're going to do is he's going to do pretty much another prowl check, and she's going to do, it's not quite detect ambush, but the same senses to kind of spot a person I think is fair. So let's have him do his prowl check. So let's roll a 1d100. He gets a 99. He is unable to vacate the area clear enough, and Alicia is able to spot him in the mist. Unfortunately, because she's still peering through the mist, she can still see the shadow of him. She's unable to do another aimed attack.
He's facing Alicia.
So all
what do you
she's able
expect?
to do is just another
terrifying.
standard attack, which is a 23. He is going to try and dodge out of the way, only because he could die. Once again, he requires a natural 20 due to the close proximity. He fails. So Alicia does another 46 mega damage to him, which is 20. $39. At this point, he is entirely beaten. He has been blown to his feet, and he brings his hands up in surrender. At this point, Alicia with her gun still raised, warning him that will blow his head off if he tries any sort of tricky big business. He surrenders. And it is at that point that Alicia finds you. There we go.
Cliffhanger
Cliffhanger. Dun dun
Bum,
dun
bum,
dun.
bum.
to be resolved right now.
in case you're wondering, I love that format of storytelling.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah,
That was
that
really
was
good.
great.
Thanks. Well, I just decided because I'm like, okay, because hopefully you'll find out this guy's intentions, but he was going to attack Alicia, and I'm like, I don't know what I want the result to be, right? Like, does she get really hurt? Does he get really hurt? Does she die? Does he die? Does he take her captive? Vice versa? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just fucking play it out and see what happens. So I was really nervous because I'm like, this could be Alicia's death. But turns out, motherfucker can't kick or prowl. So now here we are. As Alicia is telling you the story here, he is, as I mentioned before, his armor is in tatters. And as he looks over to the left towards where the other two guards are heading off to get Zoe and a few others, he turns himself slightly, and on his right arm, through the smoking holes of his armor, his undershirt itself has been torn, and it shows a tattoo. A tattoo, Al, that you recognize. It is the tattoo of a skull, a coalition skull, with 2 stars underneath of it. And through the left eye of the skull itself, a snake appears to be slithering from it. You know this as the mark of an independent operative. Independent operatives are another branch of the coalition military. You are a military specialist. There are many military specialists in engineering, in navigation, in piloting power armor, in espionage, and in independent operations. Independent operators are the most unique and most controversial wing of the coalition military, the coalition system, because they're not really a wing of the coalition system. They take promising, sturdy, talented, and mentally strong individuals from all realms, whether it's from a grunt or from a spy or from, heck, even an engineer. They take these individuals and they train the hell out of them for a period of years. And their intent is to go out into the wild world and act in the coalition's behalf. They have no orders. They have no superiors. And other than the espionage wing, they are the most untrusted and unpredictable of all agents. Sometimes they actually go rogue. Sometimes they pretend to go rogue to gain the trust of other individuals and really act in the interest of the coalition. Sometimes they're double agents against the coalition. Sometimes they're double agents for the coalition. That's the whole point. In your training, you were told the only reason you know these guys exist is because you were told to never use them as an asset because they are not dependable whatsoever. They just send them out as infiltrators and hope that through their training, through their skills, through their weaponry, they're able to act in the coalition's behalf. And here, one such person is before you.
Oh, joy.
So, I can continue on with the scene, or you guys can step in whenever you like.
Alicia is leading him, right?
Yes. She is actually still behind him with her gun pointed directly at his head. At this point, he's murmuring something about her getting really lucky.
Are there other people there watching him too? Like, if I were to take her off to the side to talk to her, would he be unguarded?
Yes, he would be unguarded.
Okay, then I'm not going to do anything yet. That would be crazy.
Right now, in fact, it's just you, Tom, with Mila and Patrick looking out the behemoth's windows, him and Alicia. The other 2 individuals, Trisha and Wes, they have gone off to get others. Soon enough, you figure in a few minutes, more people are going to filter in to investigate the noise and to see what all the hubbub is about. But for now, it's just you guys.
All right. Okay. Al would say nothing in front of him, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then if we can just let things play out naturally then.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, about 6 other guards, in addition to Zoe, Caleb, and I would say probably about half other individuals who were awake, start to converge on this area, in which Zoe asks Alicia what the hell happened. And with a kick to the back of the guy's knee, Alicia says, I was on patrol, and turns out he was lying in wait for me with this little thing, and she throws a small rectangular device to the ground, a ground that seems to be emitting a small flash of light and a beep. She's like, that was his distraction device, as he came in, skulking in the trees, brandished his sword, and attacked me. I, of course, kicked his ass, and now here we are. Zoe looks to this unknown person, and she asks, what the hell are you doing here? At this point, he coolly gives a shrug and goes, yeah, sorry, she owed me money. I was just trying to get it out of her, that's all. Which Alicia proclaims that's complete and utter bullshit. In which Zoe asks again, listen, we have your life in your hands. You tried to attack our group. What do you expect us to do in response? You better start talking, or we'll just shoot you at the side of the road and move on. Zoe doesn't look like she's entirely happy to say these words, but knowing the stern ringmaster of the Endless Storytellers, you know that she'll actually do it if she absolutely has to. And at this point, Mila, Patrick, are you guys still looking from outside the behemoth, or are you taking tentative steps closer?
We've been, at least I've been still looking from the window.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where
you can stay in the window. I don't feel like I'm doing a lot of me just talking, so I don't want you guys to think that you guys can't act. You know what I mean?
No.
It's
for
one
me.
of those.
Okay.
He's going to be pretty much inactive and just watching.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
Then this unknown individual looks over to Al, looks over to Tom real briefly, and he asks you two, should I tell him what I'm doing here? And Zoe looks between you guys very suspiciously, and there's a few murmurs in the crowd.
Al will look at him carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then look to Zoe. And then say, he has a tattoo on his shirt, torn. I don't know everything about it, but I do know that it means that he's with the Coalition, and it means he's some sort of free agent. I don't know what he's doing or what he's looking for, but they're certainly not people that you would trust simply or easily.
He says, oh, funny thing about trust. I wonder, Al, how would you know that? How do you know Coalition insignias?
Al will roll his eyes and look to Zoe. I made no beef with you that I was a doctor for the Coalition. It's simple. I'm a doctor. I treat them.
A doctor, he says. Clever. All right. Okay. Should I continue, he says, or should we start negotiating my release?
Al will just look confused and look at Zoe. Alicia owes him money. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Do what you will with him.
Okay. He says, I'm here to kill an enemy of humanity and his allies. That man right there, and he points over to Tom, or should I say boy, is wanted by the coalition states for the murder of 300 people, soldiers and civilians alike. This man is a coalition spy. He has infiltrated this group and is acting as this man's protector. The other individuals inside this behemoth are equal enemies of the coalition, all branded as such. I have come to do humanity a favor. At this, the crowd gasps, and there is a few violent curses as Zoe looks a little bit shocked and a little unsure of what to say.
Al will look a little confused and then say, I thought you were just attacking her because she owed you money. Which is it?
Everyone knows that's bullshit. Don't you see I was trying to jockey your secret for my release? You're not going to do that.
All I see is a man trying to keep from getting shot on the side of the road. Where's your evidence or proof?
Can you read? Can you read? And he looks over to Zoe. She nods. Oh, continue. Please continue. You wanted evidence. I got something here for you. And he rustles through his battered armor to find a small personal data computer, which he hands carefully, with guns trained on him, to Zoe. Zoe opens it. He goes, third file, marked Protocol 3. She looks at him suspiciously and opens it. And with that, she turns the screen to face you, Al, and to face Tom. The first screen shows Tom's wanted notice by the coalition, detailing the reasons why they want him gone, why they want him terminated. The second one is an official coalition file identifying you as a field agent who has gone AWOL. Stone-faced, Zoe says, doesn't seem like much of a liar to me.
Al will shrug his shoulders. No, I guess he doesn't.
Zoe barks for everyone else other than her guards to leave right now. Caleb insists that he stays, while Zoe shakes her head and she says, I'm going to pull rank. This has nothing to do with talent or the performances. This has to do with the security of the group, of the Endless Storytellers. You have no part in this. And with some heated argument, he finally relents and leaves. The guards are still there, pointing their weapons towards this intruder, but they are wavering slightly. Does anyone care to interject at this point?
Al would not be sure how to react.
Mm-hmm.
I
If you like, I could, because remember we were talking before, DM to DM. You're like, how do we as GMs tell characters what they know or what they don't know? Would you
Right.
like me to give you just a small bit of
Sure.
knowledge from them?
Sure.
How the fuck did this guy get your, for lack of a better word, burn notice? How did, like, I mean, the Tom Wanted thing, that makes perfect sense, right? But how does he know, an independent operative, how does he know that you, first of all, you were even a member of the coalition, and that he got that? Also, why the hell are Mila and Patrick and Pamel's and Alicia's names on that same list?
Oh. Those are all very good points.
And then those are things your character would notice, right? But your player might have, you're just wrapped up in this tense situation. I thought I'd throw you a bone.
I
Ruby?
appreciate it, yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Al will, once it's they're alone with Zoe, Al
Yeah.
will spread his hands wide and say, the notices aren't fake. However, the notion that I am Tom's protector is completely mistaken, and the notion that Patrick, Mila, or anyone else on the Behemoth is in cahoots with us, they are simply our friends, nothing more.
So he says, you don't act... Listen, all I know is how you've acted so far, and you've been pretty stand-up people. But this is a big can of worms, she says. And at this point, the independent operative gives a bit of a nod, and she glares at him. She goes, shut up. You tried to attack one of my people. I still have figured out no reason not to kill you.
Al would
Gives
look
a
to
shrug.
Al would look to Tom. Tom, I know this isn't something easy for you to talk about, but would you like to tell Zoe why the Coalition wants you?
Tom will just stay silent for a bit.
There you go. The silence says it. He's a monster. The independent operative says. A complete
Really?
and utter killing monster. Yeah.
Really? Really?
Yep.
You weren't even there.
No.
You can't even say what happened.
I saw the collateral reports. I
Yes.
saw the reports about all the dead bodies they pulled out of that crater that used to be your hometown. And I swear, if I could, I'd put a bullet in between your eyes right now. At that point, Alicia cracks him in the back of the head with the butt of her rifle,
Al,
and he falls to the ground.
Al looks straight at Zoe, completely ignoring him and saying, you know how the Coalition feels about Bursters simply because they're Bursters. Imagine what that kind of treatment would do to a young and fragile mind still learning his power. And you tell me...
No.
Al would be silent.
They came into my town. They pulled everybody out of their homes. And one by one, they shot them in front of me. They shot my mother. They shot my father. And part of me just... I don't know what happened. I can't remember. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was sitting in a field of glass. And
Al will put a hand on Tom's shoulder. You don't have to defend yourself to him. And Al will look to Zoe and say, I'm a much more simple story. I was trained to be an agent. I was asked to do something that I couldn't make myself do, which was kill a friend. I realized I was on the wrong side, and I realized I was not going to be on that side another day. And I ran. Pure and simple.
Sebastian says, from the ground, my name's Sebastian. I'm trained to kill monsters, and that's why I'm here. And with that, Alicia gives him another little kick, and Zoe doesn't seem to be stopping him at this point. And she says, I don't know how to take this right now. You don't serve a threat to us. He does. We're going to talk, and we're going to have a very long conversation about what happens before we leave tomorrow morning. But now I need to know what to do with this guy. At this point, Sebastian, the independent operative, stands from his feet, wipes the blood from his mouth from the split lip he got from hitting the floor after Alicia's crack on the back of his head. He says, listen, I know you can't trust me. I did try to attack you, but suffice to say, you're too big for me right now. I can't handle you, all right? I thought I was clever. I obviously got caught. Now, there's a very good chance I'm going to die. But if you do let me go, you'll never see me again. That, at least, is the truth. If everything else I said was a lie, which it's not, by the way, But if it was, I have many, many others to go after. Not these guys. They'll get theirs in the end anyway.
Al will look at Zoe and say, before you make your decision, let me tell you exactly what you're looking at. This is an independent agent of the Coalition. Their best and brightest are taken and trained for years to be at the top of their game, though I don't suppose they imagine they'd be running into people like Alicia. In any case, they're given a free ticket, no superiors, no one to answer to, no orders to follow. They're just released into the world to do whatever destruction or devastation or harm they feel will best serve the Coalition. And yes, that's exactly the kind of people the Coalition are. That is what stands in front of you. Even my own secret agent wing would never use someone like him for an asset, because they are too unpredictable and they hold allegiance to nothing solid.
Sebastian says in reply, this is coming from a guy who's admitted that he was a spy. Spies lie all the time. That's their job. I don't work for the Coalition anymore. It's an old tattoo. I'm just after the bounty. I'm a bounty hunter. I'm a monster killer. See how much they're offering for him? Zoe looked to the screen. 15 million credits for the lot of you. Yeah. I could retire for the rest of my life on that money. Do you blame me? There are plenty of bounty hunters out there. Can't we just call bygones be bygones? Realize that I got the wrong target? It was outside my skill. I made a mistake, maybe, and just send me on my way? You see me again, you can kill me, but he taps at his tattered armor. I'm not in fighting condition.
Al would step up and say, if he was really in it for the money, he wouldn't be killing us because we're monsters. He believes what the Coalition believes, whether he's with them or not. More importantly, where did you get your files if you don't work for the Coalition anymore? I am not exactly old news.
At this point, Sebastian says, I could give you that information, but you have to understand, I'm not really comfortable explaining my techniques, nor my sources, nor how I do my job. It compromises the entire region, really. I'd have to pack up and move somewhere else. Work somewhere else.
Al shrugs and looks back to Zoe. He has up-to-date information not just on me, but on people like Pamel, who joined us after we joined you. And yet he wants to believe that the Coalition has nothing to do with him anymore.
And Zoe paused for a moment, like, why Pamel, out of all people? Oh, she just had the inconvenience of just being in your behemoth? Being your friend?
The Coalition likes to employ scorched earth policies. Unfortunately, anyone that I touch, interact with, or could be conceivably seen as an ally of mine is now Al-Size. Disposable to the Coalition.
Oh, don't flatter yourself. It's him. He's the big fish. You're just a traitor, he says. The rest of them aids the terrorist, aids the maniac, aids the unpredictable psyker. That's why you're on the list. Not because the Coalition acts in its own interests, in the interest of humanity, to make sure what happened doesn't happen again. So, you want my sources? I want freedom.
Al looks back to Zoe and says, I'm not exactly in a position to give you advice. All I can tell you is what he is and how trustworthy even the Coalition find him. Other than that, you already know it's not my place to offer anything else.
Zoe says, information for a life? I could do that. All right. All of you in my office now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Patrick and Mila can come along because they are definitely a part of this.
Can Al go to the
but-
restroom? He almost peed his pants.
Yeah, go nuts.
I'll be right back.
Although armed guards won't come in and force you to be with Zoe, she does kind of like I command you. Like, sorry, command you with her eyes through the window.
Oh, yeah. If there's any sort of like come hither sort of motions and things like that, I think he would probably do that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna wait for Al to get, for Squee to get back before we get going.
That shit was intense, by the way. Just gonna throw that out there. I was
Yeah.
like putting my hands in my head. I was like, no, someone stop him from talking.
Someone shut this guy up. He gave you chances.
I know, that's what I
Talk
was
him up.
thinking. I was like, someone? Anyone? No one? Okay.
Yeah. That entire time, Tom was just looking more and more downtrodden.
Patrick was watching all of this with no audio through window.
Yeah,
Cool
same.
people.
Wait. Yeah. Reading
Oh, wait, no,
lips.
it probably
We could say like the
hunched
door
down.
was open so you guys could hear.
Oh. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think that's fair. That's a fair assumption, yeah. I have nothing else to say. I'm just planning the next conversation. Sup?
I'm back.
Hey.
Okay. All right. So Sebastian Dahl is stripped. Well, he was already stripped of his weapons, but he is led by gunpoint to Zoe's trailer, along with the rest of you. Not by gunpoint though, just being led to Zoe's trailer. Alicia and the rest of the guards that are around the area protect the meeting convoy as this little talk takes place. As you go through the trailers, through the ATVs, through the small campsites of everyone there, you definitely do hear a buzz of whispers, of questions, of confusion, of everything that has kind of been shed to light already. As you step into Zoe's office, her trailer office, really, and she sits behind her desk and presses her fingers to the point in between her eyes, atop her nose. She says, well, might as well sit down. We have a lot to hash out right now. So, first, I think we'll deal with you. And she looks over to Sebastian. Considering we have you by the balls, figuratively speaking, I guess you better start sharing that information, and then maybe we'll send you on your way. Without your weapons, of course. And he gives a smirk and goes, well, maybe if I give you enough, you might give me my sword back. And she says, no chance in hell. He gives a shrug, and he says, so what do you want to know? You guys can interject at any point.
Where did you get your information on us? And I mean the up-to-date information.
He picks at a few flaming bits or smoldering bits of his armor as he says, I have an ear on a few networks, a few radio networks, a few informants in various cities. New Laszlo, Ipshaming, Laszlo itself sometimes. A bunch of small little pissant places in between. I don't directly involve myself in coalition communications. That's not really my interest, he says, looking over to Zoe. But 2.5 days ago, all this information started pouring in. Locations of a very wanted subject. Locations, names, identities of his assistants. the locations and identities and other such little tidbits of a spy that was with them as well. So all that information just came to me, and I picked it up and I ran with it. Now Zoe breaks down with him the exact communication techniques he uses, his encryption powers, the listening devices that he uses, maybe a few names of his informants that he's not too attached to. Those particulars.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's of any specific interest to this story. I don't. Mm-hmm.
Where were the transmissions going to? From where to where when you intercepted them?
He goes, that's the thing with my listening device. I don't have figured out a trajectory. I'll just pick it up on certain patterns. I just pluck it up from the air.
And it was official coalition channels?
One of them was. One of them was unofficial to some merc band. And a few others were, well, not official, but the coalition definitely uses them.
Which merc band?
He looks over to Zoe, and Zoe says, it's your life, man. You start playing coy, we start to get nervous. And he goes, oh, fine. The Screaming Banshees. Another GM tip. You've heard of the Screaming Banshees before. They're the ones who were suspected that Cole hired. No, actually confirmed by Cole. Coleman?
The caravan in Pamela was in.
Yep. They're also, when you asked about them, they're also known as being one of the most miscreant and immoral merc bands out there. Because they vary from pure mercenary to somewhat noble to pretty diabolic. These guys are of the latter.
Al would look to Zoe and say, you remember the incident with Pamel's old caravan, yes?
She's like, yeah.
The Screaming Banshees were the ones hired to hit them.
She shakes her head. At this point, she's looking very sad. She's like, okay, let's finish up with him first. Zoe asks him about the equipment that he uses, where he buys it, where he sells it, what his sources are. You hear a few black marketeer names, names that she seems to recognize. But that's all the information she grills him for. I'm leaving it open for you guys to ask him any questions, though.
Give me a second, I gotta think.
Sure, no
Burn,
problem.
if
Yeah,
you
take
think
your
of
time.
anything, you're more than welcome to.
Oh no, this entire time Tom is just avoiding eye contact, looking at the floor. He doesn't like this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Patrick has any you know what? No, he will be he will say this. I guess this is more of a request and small action. May I see the computer I saw earlier?
Zoe pushes it across her desk toward you.
And he'll flip to file 3 and just start panning through it.
Okay. Are you looking for anything specific?
How exact it is, and
How exact
just,
it is? What do you mean by exact?
as in do they know size, powers, what
Oh, how detailed it is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's extremely detailed. Like all the way down to the type of armor that you guys wear, the items to watch out for. Like Patrick, they say watch out for a ring that he has. They're in a behemoth. They have this X power armor. They have schematics of it. They know Mila's a crazy.
So when they had armor, what does it say for my particular character?
Golden scales, probably magic. Be careful. Use explosives.
Hmm.
Add a character question.
Yeah.
Patrick, you weren't wearing the golden scales anytime you were around Nathan, were you?
I think.
No, he wasn't.
No,
You
no,
were
he
in regular
wasn't.
body armor.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
so.
Mm-hmm.
I made sure personally of that one. So he's going to just be like continuously flipping through to see exactly what kind of details there are.
Okay.
But that's going to be his actions for a while.
Okay.
Al.
Oh,
Go ahead. No, go
oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say no. Mila's not doing anything important. She just has her head down and she's kind of rocking back and forth in her chair, like singing very softly to herself. That's all she's doing.
Honestly, I think with Al's training and past and knowledge on this, he's not going to believe a damn word this guy says anyway, so I don't think he has any questions to ask him.
Okay, fair enough. With that, then, Zoe allows him to leave. Her guards are going to escort him to the edge of the edge of the campsite. They're going to not give him his weapons. They're going to watch him until he leaves. And of course, if they ever catch sight of him again, they have orders to shoot to kill him. Which Alicia gladly says she'll make sure of it. And she gives this Sebastian fellow a bit of a wink, in which he scowls, mutters again about how lucky she was. And before he leaves, though, Alicia asks, "So wait, why did you attack me out of all of them at first?" And he shrugs. He goes, "You were a secondary target. I was going to try to capture you, or if you put up too much of a fight, used your body to lure them all out one by one, and then execute them that way. You got lucky." Alicia kind of purses her lips a little bit. And I'm going to roll something real quick. Okay. And she and the other guards escort him to the edge of the camp, at which Zoe returns her focus to you. And she says, "So, let's forget what you did for a moment. You're not part of the coalition. I got some DBs in here. They're clearly nervous from the coalition from what they do. Everyone here has a past. But I can't help to think that your past right now is toxic."
Al nods and says, "I can't help but think the same thing. If I had known that the coalition had this much of a bead, I would never have put you in danger."
She's like, "Yeah. Well, kind of cold comfort now. Because from what I know, the coalition are after you, but so's a Merc company. The Screaming Banshees were in New Laszlo. They're probably tailing us right now. Which means if I kick you out this very moment, you take your behemoth and you head somewhere else, they're going to attack you. So what the hell do we do? Because I don't want them to attack this convoy either."
What they really want is me and Tom. Why don't we leave? We've grown quite fond of this place, and I would hate to have to force Mila and Pam and Patrick to leave when they're not the ones that are really wanted.
"No, that's not true." She goes over, she takes the computer from your hand, Patrick, and shows that the bounty. You all have bounties on your head, Al. You're all wanted. You all will eventually have to go.
Al will look at the others.
She's like, I don't want to throw you out this very second. If the Screaming Banshees are tailing us, we're going to be pretty good at spotting it. She says, this is what's going to happen. Okay? This is my thoughts. You have modifications to this idea, I'm all ears. But this is the best way I think we can figure this out now. Because everything is, like I said, pretty toxic. If I let you go right now, you'll get ambushed. You might make it, but you might not. I might as well just send you off to the Coalition myself, which I'm not going to do. Okay? If we can make it to Perryton, and we get inside that city, we will then smuggle you out, past any perimeter that the enemy might have. Then you can break free. We'll even run interference. We'll leave with 2 separate convoys going 2 separate locations. One will go straight to Perrin's Post. The other one will take our last stop. Okay? With that, with them running interference and you being smuggled out, you might have a chance to break free and start your lives anew somewhere else. I only have 2 concerns. The first is actually making it to Perryton. If the Screaming Banshees, or God forbid, the Coalition itself attacks our troop, you must disengage with us immediately and fight the battle on your own. I cannot let these people die because of you. The second problem is that when we smuggle you out, and when we run interference, we have to make them think that you're still with us. And eventually, when it's too late and we prove that you're not here, then they can't double back, which means one group is going to have your vehicles and your armor, your power armor, and the other group is going to have your behemoth. Otherwise, there's no reason why they would think you'd still be with us. If you ever make it back to Perrin's Post, I promise you, I'll give them to Finger myself, and he will hide them, and you can reclaim them. But for a while, if you want us to run interference for you, if you want us to risk our lives to save your asses, that's what's going to have to happen.
Al will look to everyone else, like Tom, Patrick, and Mila, and say, I don't know exactly what you guys are thinking, but if a single person in this troop dies because of me, I will never forgive myself. Personally, I don't want them running interference. Personally, if there's danger, I'd rather hit the road right now so that everything comes towards us and nothing comes towards them. And he would look at his,
Patrick looks surprisingly deep in thought.
he looks back to Zoe and says, if you smuggle us out, whether you succeed or not, if it's ever made known your entire troop can be in danger, you're not risking just your lives to smuggle us out, you're risking being seen as accomplices and being put on a list just like us.
Zoe takes a deep breath and she says, well, if you're going to stick with us long enough, you're going to figure this out anyway, and maybe this will assay your fears a little bit. She gives her eyes glint just a little bit. She says, we're smugglers. I mean, sure, we're entertainers, but there's at least a dozen of us, and our job is to get things in and out of cities. I've been doing this for 23 years of my life. I can get you out. And everyone, trust me, if we smuggle a hot weapon or a forbidden magic item into a coalition city, into and out of coalition cities, and everyone can pretend they never saw anything, we can do that for a few people. Besides, she says, you're temporary labor. You're not even on my fucking books.
Hmm.
Listen, you're decent people, and you're in a bad way. I want to help you out as much as I can.
Al will lean back and he'll say, "You guys know how I feel. I'll bend to the group's will."
I don't know what to do.
Since you do smuggling and you seem to have a plan, I feel very comfortable with continuing that. Can I see that computer again?
Sure, she gives it back to you.
And Patrick is going to glance right back to the armor section again, where it talks about his gold armor. He's just going to sit there and stare at it, looks like he's confused.
Okay. Is there anything you're confused about, or you're just playing in character?
All right. So out of character.
Yeah. Lay it on me.
That's a really interesting section, mainly because I have never been hit while in that armor.
Yep.
And it knows
Yep.
that it can take explosive damage and needs to actually go through like that.
Yep.
By looking at it, it doesn't look like it could do that.
Yep. I'm aware.
Who the flip would know that?
Yep.
This is why Piff is the brains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I know, dude. I know, and trust me, not a plot hole. Not a plot hole at all.
Question.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Did out of character, did we end up telling the people of the many places or whatever they're called? I can't remember their name
The
right
endless
now.
story. Oh, the House of the Golden Places. Yes.
Yes. Did we tell them about that armor?
I don't think so. No.
It was
Okay.
mentioned, but I don't
Yeah,
think
it was
they knew
mentioned,
anything about
but
it.
they never saw it. But
Yeah.
you did mention it. Yeah.
They've never saw it, and they would not know its potential.
So, out of character thinking, is there anyone besides our group who would know all of this? Anyone at all? It can't
Did
be
you
Nathan.
show William? Or
Um,
no, Max?
Max?
like
Yeah, sorry.
literally-
I don't know why I keep thinking William.
no.
No.
I showed him around the behemoth, but I didn't go in here's my armor.
No, but you did show him around the behemoth. Yep.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And he's a psychic.
yes.
What about Lee?
He is a psychic.
Lee too. Lee would have definitely seen it. He knows all about it. He saw you fighting it.
Hamel
Go through any
also-
NPCs you want, and I'll tell you. Yes, they would have seen it. They would have. This is what they are.
Pamel's been with us the longest. It would be really odd to out herself, though.
Yeah,
Who,
to put
sorry?
Pamel? Why would she
Pamel,
put herself on the
I'll
list?
tell you right now, it's not fucking. She's a player character.
No.
Okay.
And Rachel comes in. This is why I've been gone the whole time.
That'd be hilarious.
I've been
See you later,
collecting info.
bitches. Me and Inferno are gonna have our own campaign.
If it
No,
was
I'm-
Alicia, why was she the first one attacked?
Alicia, you can't suspect Alicia.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I'm saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
if it was Alicia, why would she be the first one attacked? And
And I
I'm
don't
gonna
think.
I don't think. She
I'm gonna
will.
keep dwelling on this psychic that can touch things and know their past or what they can do.
Wait, I thought it was just like machinery, or is it just
Yeah.
anything?
Well, that's what I've been told. But
Well,
I
he
don't
does
know.
have telemechanics, but you don't know what else he can do.
Yeah, and out of character, he does have a tattoo and he is registered as a psychic.
oh no! All right. Is there anyone else we can think of? Honestly, I can't think it would be Alicia for two reasons. One, she was attacked first, and even if that was staged, I'm sorry, you saw the state of that armor. She was shooting to kill him. She was not shooting
Yeah.
to make it look like she was trying to kill him.
We also
I
saved
trust
her goddamn
Alicia.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Alicia just.
So not
Oh.
Alicia, Lee. I can't. I don't know why. I know. We haven't known Lee that long, but nothing about him screams betrayal. He just screams slob. I mean,
Mila and him had such a nice moment.
And the GM as well is also going to just give you a heads up because you're missing it. Although other people are noticing in the chat. The Lizard Mage too. He's been in your place. He know that's fucking his armor. He knows all about that shit too.
yeah, I immediately dismissed that simply because, and maybe I shouldn't, but I immediately dismissed it because the fuck does he care about what the coalition wants or doesn't want?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
There's that, and the coalition would be. I'm
Shitting
like.
bricks.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
would
they
be
would
like, seriously, we're going to be like converting with the exact thing that we hate the most.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
That'd be.
All right.
Not be the best.
Out of character, and Al's kind of said this in character, but out of character, I'm gonna lay down what Al would want and kind of what I
Okay.
want as a player, but what Al would want.
All right.
Guys, he seriously, now that he realizes how much information is known and how much danger there is, he does not want to risk a single hair on the head of anyone in this troop. And he doesn't want to be separated from half his gear. He and I are all for picking up our behemoth, running, and taking our chances because any other scenario risks their lives, whether they're used to it or not. If one of these people died because of Al or his past, I don't think he'd ever live it down. Ever.
I can only speak out of character because Mila's completely unresponsive right now.
Right.
Comatose? She's still
yeah,
loading?
she's still just rocking back and forth, like singing, humming to herself. But no, I think we should drop the behemoth. I think we need to go into hiding.
Yeah.
This is some
This is a
serious
big
shit.
campaign thing, so yeah, you guys have to figure this out of character and in character, but like
Yeah.
definitely out of character.
I agree even with dropping the behemoth. The only thing that I would push whatsoever is leave and leave now before these people get in any more danger than they are. I would be all for dropping the behemoth, taking the power armors, the ATVs, and GTF, Owen.
I don't want to do that. Ugh. I
But
like
the thing
behemoth.
is, changing bodies now is only a part solution because their names are on the list too.
I know.
They're going to be. I would say they'll probably drop a lot more once. What?
What? Pat?
I
What?
thought I heard. I heard a.
I think
guttural
Burns just
growl.
not happy about losing the behemoth.
Hey, listen, I'm giving you guys an option. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is all very okay. Anyways, you guys know it's on the table. You guys have to decide. You have questions for me, I will answer, but I will shut my fucking mouth at this point.
Well, what we could do, okay, if we left the behemoth, if we ran, the behemoth in and of itself is still a danger to the caravan. I was thinking, like, what if we leave it with the caravan? But they are looking for behemoth, and they're not exactly common. The chances that a mercenary group might hit the caravan just because there's a behemoth here is likely. I would love the idea of just, hey, you guys take the behemoth, drop it off on Perrin's Post, we'll pick it up later, but that is literally the biggest target here.
How big is the mercenary guild or band or whatever?
Screeching.
The mercenary unit, the Screaming Banshees.
Yeah.
Um,
What would we know of like
you would
their,
know,
their
okay,
size?
You as a group would know that they are a group of 80 individuals broken up in about 8 different squads, typically of 10 individuals each. They have squad leaders. They do have a headquarters themselves, but they're mostly nomadic in the fact that they go from job to job to job. You also know that sometimes the units themselves work independently, but for especially large projects, all 10 tend to converge. And of course, they have one leader at the top that, tactically decides all these things. They're also known for loving and using explosives to a deadly fashion. They don't typically take capture missions. They take seek and destroy missions most of all. They're also extremely mercenary, whereas you've also heard tales, or heard rumors, we'll even say, of targets bribing them to leave them alone. And sometimes they do it, and sometimes they take the money and kill them anyway. So That's fun.
Quick question, because
Yep.
I know this has been said before. What kind of durability does the behemoth have? Let's see. Oh, hang on. I'm looking at it right now.
500 mega damage main body, and various sections like the observation area has about 200 mega damage. I think at the arms has around like 150 each. It could take a bit of a pounding, but it's not made for combat. That's
Right.
the thing. All it has is its mini missiles, and it can only fire kind of from the front or to the sides, and it's not the most mobile thing in the world in a fight.
I mean, like, I'm with Mila. Like, you know, drop the behemoth and run. Thing is that like, here's the things. Do we stay with the caravan? And I think the longer we stay with them, every minute we stay with them now, we're putting them in danger. Do we run without the behemoth? It's easier possibly to get away unnoticed, but if we run into a group of 80 people, we're not going to have the firepower we need. Run with the behemoth, we'll have a little bit more firepower and durability. We'd be able to stand up to more people than without it, but we'll be a higher visual target.
Way higher. That
Yeah.
thing is fucking huge.
What
Sorry, I should shut up.
no, you're fine. I
I'm-
just
I'm-
keep. Sorry, Bern. Go ahead.
I'm not ready to leave the behemoth. That's my stance. I don't want to leave the behemoth, but I want to leave the endless storytellers if that is still the way that we're going to go.
I think we should take Zoe up on her offer.
That would work as well.
I think we're up kind of Pooper Creek without a paddle. It will give us the opportunity to maybe keep the behemoth in the future. We would just be separated from it. But like,
Now we have.
but the thing is, it's like, okay, we take the behemoth and we go away from the endless storytellers, and now look, there's all these people. We'll fight off for a bit and probably get, you know, our butt pounded. We leave the behemoth and we go off without them. We try to sneak away. Worst case scenario, we get found and we get our butt pounded. This way, this is. I'm just trying to take the path of least butt pounding.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
my god, that's the best. You know the path of least resistance? This is the path of least, butt pound.
pounding.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would relent under one condition. Well, I mean, honestly, if it's a group majority, I'm relenting no matter what. But I would request one condition. If we are going to be traveling with this group and putting them in any sort of danger, everyone in the storytellers knows what's being risked.
Oh, that reminds me of a question I wanted to ask. I'm sorry. How far away are we from the next town?
You're 5 days.
Oh shit, that's
Yeah.
quite a time.
6
Because-
days travel, and you have one.
Because here's what I'm saying, is that it's fine if Zoe says, hey, we'll do this, but there's, in front of how many people are in the endless storytellers?
Give me a second. Let me just bring up their file that I made for them. Their dossier. No, I'm just kidding.
I like that word better. Their dossier.
And
They're done.
that's another thing that we're going to have to fucking think about. That's one more person that we might need to tell about the whole body switch thing.
Zoe, yeah. But
Yes.
at this point, I trust Zoe enough to tell her, and honestly, she's risking literally a lot.
Maybe
60 people.
60.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, here's my thinking. Zoe can say that they're willing to do this, but that's 60 people whose life we are putting in jeopardy. And if we choose to do this, those 60 people have a right to know why their life is being put in jeopardy. They do. They really do. I mean, if there's a chance that the mercenary band could attack that troop, they deserve to know, and they deserve to know why, and they deserve to be able to choose if that's something they're willing to do or not. Zoe, I love Zoe to death, but that's not the kind of decision she should be able to make for everyone. Like, and I'm saying this, like, you know, if I say this in character, I'm going to say it as respectfully as possible, because I'm not trying to diss Zoe, but just that if you are going to do this, if they're going to risk their lives for us, they deserve to know.
I should let you know, too, that just a few other tidbits of information. The Endless Storytellers themselves, they have to travel the roads in dangerous situations. They're not helpless. They have 2 giant robotic fighter units with them as well as 2 suits of power armor, and everyone carries a gun and power armor. This caravan has been attacked in the past and will continue to be attacked in the future.